everyone, it's Dr. Joy. Today I want to talk about preventing cavities. So I get a lot of questions about, Doctor, why is it that I got a cavity? Like, what am I doing wrong? And how can I prevent them? And it's a good question. So there's really three things you need to get a cavity, okay? You need a tooth. So if you don't have any teeth, you're not going to get cavities. That's the good news. But if you do have teeth, the other two things that you need are going to be bacteria, which everyone has in their mouth, and food. We all got to eat, okay? So let's start with things that we can actually control what we eat, okay? That's probably, to me, that's what we can do that will have probably the biggest impact of our risk. And I'll tell you why. What the bacteria really do, they take sugar from your food. And I'm not just talking about sweets and candy. Almost all the things we eat have at least a minute amount of sugar. And while it is the sugar that the bacteria use to make cavities, pretty much all foods have sugar, and they don't need a lot. So don't limit your thinking to just sweet foods, because it's not just eating sweets that causes cavities. And the bacteria, they take that sugar and they convert it to acid as part of their normal metabolism. And it's really that acid that'll burn a hole in your tooth and start cavities. So it's not just sugar. Even acidic things like soda, which has high sugar and acid, or even fruit juice, high sugar, high acid. Those types of foods, if you eat those a lot, they do increase your risk of getting a cavity. But it's not just what you eat, it's also how you eat it, okay? So what I mean by that, if you take a bag of M&Ms and you eat that whole bag of M&Ms in one 30-minute sitting, guess what? We consider that one exposure. But if you take that same bag of M&Ms and you just snack on it throughout the day, well, if you make it last 8 hours, guess what? That's 16 exposures. That's because every 30 minutes that goes by that you continue exposing your mouth to food, we consider that another exposure, if you will, of your risk of getting a cavity. And the reason why that is it takes about 30 minutes to take your mouth from being an acidic environment when you eat something to being a neutral environment. Your saliva is really good at neutralizing, but it takes about 30 minutes to do so. So if you're just constantly putting more fuel into your mouth, you're constantly dropping that environment to being back to acidic. And that is really going to elevate your cavity risk there, okay? So it's not just, avoiding sugary things, but maybe eating 3 square meals a day with just 2 snacks in between versus being a grazer, where you just eat constantly throughout the day, or even taking that coffee in the morning that has sugar in it, right? And you sip it, and you sip it, and you sip it, and it lasts you all day. Well, that's a good way to get a cavity, okay? So just think about that. Drink that coffee in the morning, eat that bag of M&Ms, get it done in 30 minutes. That's one exposure, okay? The other thing we have control over is the bacteria, okay? So primarily the plaque. So we can remove the plaque twice a day through brushing, right? What kind of toothbrush you use? Well, I recommend an electric toothbrush. It removes more plaque than a manual. It'll make you sit there for 30 seconds per quadrant, or 2 minutes total. And most people don't have the discipline to sit there for 2 minutes otherwise. So not only does the brush head of an electric toothbrush remove more plaque anyway, but it also oftentimes has that timer that will motivate you to take the proper amount of time. So brushing twice a day is usually enough for most people to remove that plaque frequently enough to avoid a cavity, okay? And the other way that we sort of modify the bacteria is through the use of fluoride. So when you're brushing your teeth, you should be using a fluoride toothpaste. And the reason why is because the fluoride actually doesn't let those bacteria convert the sugar to acid. So it kind of blocks that enzyme, that mechanism that the bacteria use to cause a cavity. And so that's why fluoride is so effective. So you can get it not just through your toothpaste, but also through your public water supply for most people. You can get it in mouthwash. And when you go to the dentist and get your cleaning, you can get it through a varnish, is what we offer in our office. It's a film, it's a material that has the fluoride. It's painted over your teeth, and that fluoride can last up to 3 months. And so that's another good way to prevent cavities. And if you're really prone to getting cavities, you really should be seeing the hygienist probably 3 to 4 times a year, not just twice a year, like a typical person would, okay? So there you have it. Those are my tips for preventing cavities. Hope you found this video useful, and I'll talk to you next time. Thank you.